Hey, once again, I'm here with Enoch and Evans. Evans is a fashion designer and Enoch is a business entrepreneur, right? Wonderful. These are giants in their own industry. Okay, so they stopped by and they have a couple of questions, so I'm just gonna let them flow.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask. So for Christians, what do they have to do besides prayers and fasting to see results in their life?
What do they have to do besides fasting and praying to see results? So does that mean that when they fast and pray, they don't get results?
They don't get any results yet.
They don't. Wow. Okay. So then the question is, that tells me that they don't really have an understanding why they're fasting. Because if you're fasting and you're not getting results, that means you're just dieting. You're just doing it because somebody had asked you to do it. Because what's the purpose for fasting? And why are you fasting? And who are you praying to? Because you pray to get results. So if you're praying and nothing, then there's a question mark right there. Because who are you praying to? The person you are praying to, does he answer or he doesn't? You should know all that. You see, I personally believe that the level of how you know God is what brings the results. Your aspect of knowledge of God is what really brings the results. Because, for instance, if you know that you are praying to a God who you read that parted the Red Sea, then you go with that expectation that if God was able to part a Red Sea, whatever you are facing, he should be able to do likewise, because he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. If not, then that God of yesterday is different from the God that we are serving now, but he's the same. So why was he able to do it with them and he cannot do it with us? Something is wrong. So we need to go deeper and find out. So whatever you read, you just don't read it for reading to make you feel good, but you want to extend it. You want to go further and prove what you have read. Because you need to prove it. And that shouldn't be your problem. That is the one that is written about. His name is at stake. It has nothing to do with you. Because you found out that God, Jesus, he did this, he performed all the miracles. So you are coming with that expectation that if he was able to do it, he should be able to do it for you. So if he doesn't do it, it doesn't mean that he's not the same. But your knowledge of him, so you need to find out what is your knowledge of him, which is key. If your knowledge of him is just like, well, I heard about Jesus, he fed the 10,000. Maybe you know him of a healer, but you don't know him of a God who can provide for you. So your knowledge of him is key for yourself, not what I am telling you. So you need to go further and get to know him for yourself. So your knowledge of him will change everything.
And I just want to say thank you for that great introduction. So we'll get this soon. But my question is, coming into an industry that is very, worldly, that has a lot of sex, drugs, how can I stay focused and be very steadfast and put my head down, focus on God whilst I'm doing what I have to do?
Okay. So you see, you know what? I have always pondered over that myself. Why is it that the world can easily influence us, but we cannot influence them? Have you ever thought about that? Because if a Christian, you release a Christian, maybe to go to the nightclub a couple of times, before you find out they're backsliding. But why is that? But then it's so difficult to bring the person that goes to the nightclub to the church. But it's easier for them to pull us in. You see, that's something I thought about it. Look, you see, based on what you just said, the drugs, the alcohol, the this, the that, what the church has been doing is we feed our flesh, but we hardly feed our spirit.
Right.
But it's the spirit that controls the flesh.
Right.
So when your spirit is stronger, it controls the flesh. So you could be, if you can sit and dine with the devil, he can't even attack, he can't influence you.
Right.
Because you're strong.
Yeah.
Your spirit is strong, so your spirit can fight whatever. When your spirit is fortified, it can stand against any war.
Right.
And that's what we hardly do. So we sort of feed the flesh. We want to be prosperous. We want to make money.
Right.
We get so engaging.
Yeah.
But we don't have understanding. Because if you gain the whole world, where are you taking it? If you become a billionaire today, are you not going to die and leave it behind?
Yeah.
And the other thing is, because we don't know God, when you know that this is a God who made everything before he made man, he made provision. Think about it. Before he even made man, he already made provision for us.
Yeah.
So the diamond, the gold, the silver, everything, who is it for? God doesn't need it.
Right.
So he made it for us.
Right.
So it's very smart that you see, you want to talk to a millionaire to make it. But the one who made the millionaires, you don't want to talk to him.
Right. Right.
The one who put it all together. The one who has the code,
Yeah.
the password to unlock the riches of the earth.
Yeah.
You don't want to know him.
Right. I think that the problem is the millionaire is accessible. Like you see the person right there.
Right.
So it's kind of very difficult for you to just go into your room, pray, and then just be patient and just expect something to happen.
Okay, so you see, that is a routine. That what you're doing, go to your room and pray. That is a routine. But when you have an intimacy with God and you know who he is, you don't go in prayer, but you go in a conversation. You go to ask. Because he said, you see, when you know him as a personality, like we are sitting here, we are talking, the approach is different. You go to talk and get answers. Like, God, this is what I want to do. So now, if you come to me and you talk to me, you want answers. But we don't go to God for answers. We go to God to pray and complain. So there's a difference when you know him as a personality and you want to engage him.
Right.
So when you engage him, that's when he downloads the ideas into your spirit.
Right.
Because he's a spirit. He cannot talk to your mind. He will download it into your spirit. So there had to be a connection. And we don't have that.
Right.
So we just go to God, we complain, we wait for 2 minutes, we just say whatever, and we just leave. Because you are speaking into thin air. But if it's a person, then you will come before him, talk to him, and also need an answer.
Right.
When was the last time people prayed to God and waited for God also to talk back to them? We don't do that because we don't regard him as a personality. So you see what the problem is?
Right.
So there is no intimacy. We are praying, but we are praying amiss because we are not praying to a personality who is sitting down or having a conversation with us. We are just praying.
But then if you say, because you're saying a lot of stuff, so I have to ask the question. So it's you saying that we have to wait. What does God's voice, what will God's voice sound like?
Ah, wonderful. So you see, there are 4 voices that speaks. God's voice, the devil's voice, your voice, and your problems. And they all pass through the same channel. So you need to, that is why it's very important to distinct between the voices. If you're in a company, and there's an imposter who calls your company, but because you've read the manual of the company, when an imposter calls you and says that, oh, you work for this company, they said this and this, because of the manual, you'll be able to tell that, no, this is not coming from my company.
Right.
Because this is the rules and the regulation. This is a bit different.
Right.
So you know.
Right.
Okay? So at least there you know. Now, if I call you over the phone. You might not recognize my voice if you haven't spoken to me for a very long time. So you're going to ask me, who is this? But there are some people, when you're sleeping and they call, you pick up and you know, this is my mother. This is my dad's voice. Why? Because you know them. You have that relationship with them. So the more intimate you are with God, you will know his voice. You will know the voice of God. So we don't know God. We haven't taken an adventure, and it hurts my soul because there is so much. Look, first of all, think about it this way. God doesn't need anything from you. He's there. He's by himself. It is you who need to take an adventure and say that, you know what? I want to take an adventure and get to know this God. Find out things for yourself outside of the book. And let it become real. Because there is a place. He's real. Right. But when you read him in the book, it's a letter, it's a story you're reading. But there's a spirit behind the book. Step outside of the book and get to know the real God behind the book. Okay. And that's where we haven't reached. So we are all talking. People are looking at us with no manifestation. There are no results. You pray, you fast, you do all kinds of, but nothing is happening. But to be honest, let's be real. If the God, the Jesus that we claim in the Bible and the things that he did, do you think if you truly know that Jesus, your circumstances will not change? Do you think the God that parted the Red Sea, if we really know that God that we are talking about, what is your problem to God? I mean, seriously. Yeah. If that Jesus that we claim we know, somebody died and he raised him up, what is that sickness that you have compared to him raising the dead? So you see, your knowledge of him is what brings the results. But we have become very ignorant of who he is. Because we've not come in contact with him. In reality, we heard of him, but we don't know him. We don't know him. If I ask you to tell me a lot about Jesus, you tell me so much, but do you know him outside of the book? That when he's speaking right now, you know that this is Jesus talking. Amen. So was I able to answer all your questions?
Yes.
Good,
yes.
good.
So we would like to thank you, Pastor.
You're welcome.
We'd like you guys to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Stay tuned for the next video.